Hey y'all, welcome to episode 232 of Consignment Chats, where today we're going to talk about daily routines of a reseller, how we make money thrifting and flipping online.
Oh, yeah.
I think one of the big things that brought this to our mind to talk about was something that Libby has celebrated this past week. So we're going to start talking about our weeks, and then you're going to get an inside listen about how our day in and day out goes in each one of our lives. So Libby, let's talk about your big thing that happened this past week.
Hey y'all, welcome to Consignment Chats. This is Molly, and I'll be joined by my co-hosts Libby and Samantha.
Yeah, so I do a daily vlog inspired by our dear friend, Diane Lassonde, and it is called Reseller Reflections. I have a podcast, and I do it on our YouTube channel, Reseller Reflections, a day in the life of a full-time reseller supporting her family every day. I come on, I tell you the thoughts that are swirling in my brain, some personal stuff, lots of business stuff, and what it's like to be a day in the life. And it's there's some good stuff. There's some bad stuff. There's some ugly stuff. There's some uncomfortable stuff. It's all the stuff, guys.
In a nutshell, y'all, there's real stuff. It is real. It is authentic. It is true.
I call it Libby's reseller diary. She's essentially putting the good, the bad, and the ugly of her day as a reseller up there every night. Just a quick little bit for everybody.
Yep. Couple minutes every night for 365 days. Yep.
365 days, y'all. I mean, that's a full year of never missing a single day.
Not even a Saturday or a Sunday or when she's on vacation or when we're all on vacation. This woman will schedule her recording in between us being on the downtown Las Vegas and going back out to do it. Like, she's like, wait, when am I going to do my reflection? Like,
I've done it in the airport. I've done it, at a cafe when I lost power. I've done it in my bed in a hotel room, in my bed at my house.
Would you do it here or there? Could you do it anywhere?
I've lost power in the middle of one and everything went dark, but thank goodness. Our friend Lee Phillips, thanks Lee. He's in Wales, UK. Had the idea of getting a UPS, uninterrupted power supply, and I was still able to record. It was kind of like a ghost story. Like the lights went out, but the show went on.
Ooh, it is the real
day
deal
on Reseller Reflections.
Yeah, so it's been a real fun journey. I honestly thought I can't do that because I'm not going to cry because I cried enough yesterday for the rest of the year for all 365 days. I didn't think anybody really cared about it except for me. And last night, everybody in our Patreon group kind of surprised me and had you can see the flowers like behind me there and little balloon, and they're beautiful, and kind of surprised me and told me what everything meant to them as far as the reseller reflection. So I feel like that's maybe like the best thing that ever could have happened to me. Honestly, like it's just like people are listening and I'm providing some insight and some service and they're there with me. So
people are listening every day. Like Pam Henry said the other day in one of our Patreon meetings, she's like, wait, if you've been doing this for 365 days, that means I've been listening to you for 365 days. Like, yeah. And there are many people out there like that. There's been times when I've called Libby and I'm like, are you okay? And she's like, yeah, why? And I'm like, because you didn't post your reflection yet. And like, I'm in the 24-hour co-working room and people are asking me if you're okay because they haven't watched you yet today.
She will not let midnight hit without getting it out there. We promise.
Yeah, it's really cool. And I know you guys like to give me razz me a lot, and I razz 100%. You about not listening or not watching, but it's all, it's all in good fun. I don't expect people to listen every day. Thrilled when you do, but yeah. But thanks
Well,
for taking the
I
ride with
think
me.
if nothing else, what last night, okay, so I have to back up for a second. This was in the works for several weeks, trying to, how are we going to surprise her? How can we celebrate this big moment? And Jill of Rusty Truck Relics started, with a message to Samantha and I was like, yes, we definitely want to do something. Got to figure it out. Well, finally came to the decision. I had an aha moment of, I'll call Libby's mom, who lives next door, and we'll make her our little behind the scenes working elf to pick stuff up and time it out just so, because we'll be in the middle of our reseller reset Sunday night meeting. So we'll all be there talking about our daily schedules. And I'll just have Jane pop in her e-basement with flowers and balloons. So we kind of figured it all out. Well, the funny thing is, yesterday I said to Nick, I said, I got to set my alarm so I don't forget to go up there and be ready, to get it going. And I said, this is going to be such a surprise, I hope, for Libby, but it's also going to be the most uncomfortable 30 to 40 minutes of her life, because she, like me, cannot stand to have all that attention. And it was hilarious because she cried, but then as soon as somebody would start talking and doing a compliment, you have this look, and I don't think I can do it, but you do this kind of where your lips go to the side and you get a little uncomfortable when people are talking about you.
Yes.
And you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yes.
So every time somebody would start, I would watch her face and that little side lip would go over, and I'm like, oh, she's so uncomfortable right now, but it means so much to her. It's like a love-hate thing. Like, I love that everybody loves what I do, but I really hate being in this moment.
Well, it really meant a lot. Thank you so much.
Well,
and everybody who participated, or just everything.
So the big question that everybody keeps asking Libby in our other meetings is, does this mean you're done with Reseller Reflections?
Nope.
There we go. I'm going to keep them forever.
Continue on. Well, I didn't say forever.
Let's not put that term out
I
there.
just had the conversation the other day, and I said, as long as I have something to say or something to share, I'll keep doing it. Yeah. I mean, how did I share something like for 365 days when I literally thought I had nothing to say? Like, that's insane. So I don't know what the future holds, but I don't have any like anticipation of stopping it at this point.
Awesome.
Besides, I think there might be a slight rebellion.
I think you would clearly have some issues. I mean, poor Pam Henry wouldn't know how to start her day because she has coffee with you every morning at 3 a.m. watching it. So you would really wreck her morning routine. I mean, totally throw her off. Woo. Yeah. So congrats.
Yeah.
So
and I'm glad we're doing this episode, because one of the things, like when I do reseller reflections, that has happened over and over and over again, is somebody says, you were talking about me. You were talking about, I can't, whatever, like I really identify with this, but they thought I was specifically talking about them. Now, I don't specifically talk about anybody unless I use their name or have permission. However,
sometimes we feel like it.
Sometimes people have felt like they're called out when I do this, and it's not. It's that I'm going through something, and you guys can all identify of like what it's like to be living this life, what it's like to have a family and be balancing boundaries and struggling through business challenges, personal challenges. It's not that I'm calling anybody out. It's just that we all have so many things in common.
And the roller coaster of reselling. There's days when you're going to come on, especially Q4, and you're going to be like, we met our sales goal. And the whole week's going to be great. And then there's other times, like now or during the summertime, when you're like, well, we did not meet our sales goal today. We did not. I mean, it's just everybody with you with that roller coaster that is reselling, and just showing that they're not alone. Like,
yeah. I think, Samantha, we're not going to talk about our week because this is just perfect.
This is so good. We just need to get into it. This is just
our segue into the actual topic of the daily routine of a reseller. So we'll talk about our week on Wednesday Live. So
there we go.
I can say a little there, but
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about our day. We're going to talk about it. We hope that this inspires you. We hope you get a little education from it. And and I'm sure you'll get some entertainment, right? That's probably a guarantee.
I'm sure.
All right.
We got to keep it funny for Candace. We see you, Candace.
Right.
We see you.
Right.
So I think I don't know. I was thinking maybe if we start with our morning, like your morning routine, like what as a reseller, we all work from home. All three of us are full-time, although we're full-time / part-time because we have Consignment Chats and our reselling businesses. So we kind of split our time between the two. But
or is it two full-time jobs?
Two full-time jobs is really
real here.
Yeah. So my morning routine has changed like 7 million times. I've been full-time for 4 years this fall. And I don't know. Right now my routine is also balancing time with my husband. Because I can be a bit of a workaholic if I'm not reminded, like, hey, you have people that want to spend time with you. So I have been getting up and, like just getting ready for the day, drink my protein, that kind of thing. We do our motivation in minutes, which is our 15 minutes of motivating our Patreon people and motivating each other.
And sometimes stretching.
Yeah, I needed that this morning. Whoa, did I need it?
And so we do that. And then right beforehand, I guess the first thing I do when I get up is I take screenshots of everything that's sold so that my husband can go and pull them. So while I'm doing motivation in minutes, he's pulling orders, and then we can get shipping done when I'm done with motivation in minutes. And then our new thing we've been doing lately is he will make me breakfast. That's not new. He does it all the time. But he makes me breakfast. And we've been playing a game of cribbage, which is a card game.
We love cribbage.
We play a game of cribbage. And then I say, okay, now I have to go record, or now I have to go whatever. And we kind of like set a time limit. Like we can play cribbage until one morning we played like 4 games. But like this morning we played 1. And then he went off to do some stuff. I need to work. And while we're playing cribbage, we go over my schedule. Like he's like, I'm going to go mow the lawn and do this. And I'm like, cool, you need to leave me alone until 2 p.m. Like we do that kind of thing so that he knows like, okay, I'm going to go do whatever he's doing and not talk to you until 2 p.m. unless it's absolutely necessary, because we have struggled with that so much of how to get my schedule across to him of like, this is my plan for today, especially since our schedules are so different every day with having Consignment Chats and all the things we do. It used to just be leave me alone Tuesday mornings, and now that's not the case anymore. So I find that by spending that like one-on-one time with him and then telling him my schedule and what my plan is, what we're doing, is a lot more effective than just getting up and getting dressed and like, okay, babe, leave me alone for a while and like walking.
I had no idea you were doing this. I am so absolutely in love with this idea that you guys have like the connection time in the morning, and then you kind of discuss. I think that's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. I love it. Wow.
Yeah, that's part of our balance, having our coffee together in the morning
and playing cribbage. That is
playing
just
cribbage.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks.
Wow.
Don't tell Nick he'll have me up at 5 a.m. so we can get a game of cribbage in. Oh, Lord.
So let's just say I do sleep in until 8 a.m. Like my alarm goes off at like 7:45. Sometimes I wake up earlier than that. I'll just, like 7 o'clock I'm up and I'm awake for some reason. But for the most part, my second alarm goes off at 8, and that is when I'm awake for the day. So I do sleep in to like normal standards of what a job would do or whatever. But
Gotcha. So my mornings, I am now up at 6 a.m. It's just when my body's waking me up, because I started the last 12-week year adjusting my bedtime schedule. And so naturally that has adjusted my wake up time to, I'm typically up anywhere between 6 and 6:30. I really should say 5:30 and 6:30 because sometimes I'm up earlier.
Mhm.
But I talked about this recently with y'all. One thing that I realized is when I wake up, if it's any time beyond 5, I need to just get up, because there are many times where I woke up and because it was so early, I would go to the restroom and then go crawl back in bed and get on my phone for a little bit and then inevitably fall back asleep for a half an hour till Nick gets up. The problem with that was happening was I was finding myself so tired when I woke up from the second sleep. So what I do now is my new rule is if I wake up and it's 5 is on that clock, it's 5 or later, I have to get up and stay up. No getting back in bed. And that really for me has been a game changer. I am so much more productive first thing in the morning than I am later in the day. So I will get up, I will shower. Nick, my suggestion, Samantha, is you could always have a husband like Nick who kind of takes over a lot of your business. Whereas he now not only started out as my shipping manager, I don't even tell him what ships. Like he shipped out something this morning. I had no clue it sold.
Oh my
I
God.
had no clue.
When we were there visiting you, he spent a solid 45 minutes looking for something you had already shipped during the middle of the day. Because he didn't, because he had looked.
You still ship, Molly? What the heck?
She was really excited about that. It was like a Tiffany necklace or something, and she was like,
my several $100 bracelet. I was excited.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So she did that real quick. He assumes that she never ships, and he came home and was like, I can't find this bracelet.
Like, oh, honey, I shipped that at 9:30 this morning.
Oh, man.
But he will get up now and he'll have shipping done. And like this morning, we were talking with Coffee later, and I was like, so the only thing we had to ship was the vintage Duke pennant. And he's like, well, no, there was the shirt, the whatever shirt that sold full price. And I'm like, I didn't see it. Well, no, because he had already gotten up to run, came back from his run and went ahead and shipped it. I had no clue. So he does the shipping. Typically when he'll go run, then I get up, I get in the shower, get myself ready, go through my personal get ready routine. And then we go downstairs and I have a protein coffee. It is my thing I have to have every morning. I mix it with a protein shake and I put my protein coffee powder in and I drink that. And that's breakfast for me.
You mix the protein coffee with a protein shake?
I use
She's getting like 40 grams of protein and like one cup of coffee in the morning.
40 grams of protein. I do the protein shake and then I put the scoop of coffee in and I drink that. And that is breakfast. I don't eat until 1 o'clock because it's my protein. I'm good to go.
Because you're full. She's drinking so much protein, she can't even absorb it all. Like
well, and I've never been a big breakfast eater unless I'm on vacation. I just, or the weekends if we're out and about. Like I am not a morning eater. So the protein coffee with the protein shake has been great for me because you're supposed to eat in the morning and get that protein in. So this is an easy way for me to do that.
Yeah.
So I do that. Nick and I usually will have coffee in the morning and then he gets ready and heads out to work. And then I come back upstairs, get at my desk. And the one thing that I am beyond about lately is writing my daily to-do list down. I have my app where I keep all of my tactics that I'm getting done through the week. But every morning I write down with pen and paper, the things I am going to complete that day. And it sits here on my desk.
Oh, she uses the notepad I got her.
I do think you want to get it. So that is my thing I do when I come up, take my morning medicine, which hangs under my desk. I take my meds, I do my to-do list, and then I get rolling. And usually before Motivation in Minutes, I will have a video edited. It depends on what is on my list.
You are a true morning person.
I am.
You really are.
Yeah. So
Samantha's a night owl. You're a morning person. I'm like the meat of the day kind of person.
We roll into Motivation in Minutes, and like you guys made a big deal with the fact that I had my hair brushed this morning.
It was shocking. It was beautiful.
And then like Libby has been up and like exercised. She's accomplished some things. And then there's Molly. Molly is like, my day's good. I'm ready for a nap. Let's go.
Time to take a nap. Time to take a break. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
that's been my thing. It really has worked well, so that by the time we do motivation in minutes, I've checked a couple of things off the list, which just keeps me more motivated to go on. And then we do our motivation in minutes, and then I will usually head back downstairs for a quick break, come back up, and then that's my work slot for a while till Nick comes home for lunch. So that's kind of how my mornings roll. But like I say, I think a big thing for me is doing the reseller reset on Sunday night, getting my ducks in a row for the whole week, but then having that morning time where I literally put pen to paper for that particular day. And then when I'm done with the day, I pull up my app and tick my boxes off of all those things that I had handwritten to do. Something about the handwriting for me just really sets it in for the day.
Yeah.
So that's my morning routine that really gets me focused and ready to roll.
Yeah. So no shock here. My morning routine looks a lot different from you ladies because I live alone. So it looks a lot different. I don't have to worry about spending time with anybody or letting anybody know what I'm doing. It's great. So I get up, and I have to say, like, this has evolved incredibly over the past year and a half based on, my needs, based on a lot of research I've done. And Molly continually telling me successful people get up early. So I have consistently She just kept telling me that as I was like laying in bed.
Hey, the more you read and listen to these, these big wig influence people like Mel Robbins and Tony Robbins and all our people that we love, that they are up at 5 a.m. every morning.
Yep.
That is one of their biggest things they say.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not a morning person. I really just, God. But, I listened, and I get up at 5:30 every morning, and I go to the gym, generally do a spin class, do some weightlifting, come back home. Now I have to mention that this is not natural for me. It is really hard. Almost every morning it is hard.
I can vouch for that. She is a zombie in the morning. She's not cranky. She's not grr like she said she is, but she's a literal zombie. Like if she gets up and she's like, okay, what do I do next?
I am not a morning person, but I do that. I learned something on a Mel Robbins podcast. I've linked it up in Reseller Reflections about like women and specifically what they need. So I forced myself to have some protein in the morning on the way to the gym. And that has made probably the biggest difference of anything I've ever done in my life. Yeah. So anyway, do that, come back, ready to roll, shower, clean up the house, that sort of thing, make my coffee, sometimes protein coffee, Molly, but not with a protein shake, add it with water. So this was really hard for me to wrap my head around was doing this. So I don't actually start work. I don't go down into my e-basement until 8:45 a.m. Like all of this takes up that much time. And I had a really hard time because I would start work at 6 a.m. most days, like before I would, do anything. I was like, I don't have time to go to the gym, especially not the heck to drive to a gym. Like, are you kidding me? I do not have time for that. I start at work, my feet hit the ground at usually about 6, sometimes 6:30. And I just worked and worked and worked and worked. So it was really hard for me to find the time to do that. But I thought I'm going to work harder on myself than I do on my business. And you know what? I get the same amount of work done. And I don't start until 8:45 with motivation in minutes. I'm usually ready to roll by the time we get on there. I'm showered, ready, and really pumped up to give you guys your quote of the day and celebrate wins with everybody. And it's so that
and you're taking care of yourself. You're more happy. You're more
I'm
balanced.
much happier.
Absolutely.
I think that's something when we talk to other resellers and stuff, like we were on Nashville Flippers show the other day and we talk about our Patreon and they're like, wow, you do a lot for business stuff and business stuff and business stuff. And it's like, we fail to mention the fact that our mastermind is half business, half personal goals. We make sure that you set a priority for that week for your business and something that you're going to accomplish that needs to get done for your business. But then what are you doing for you? Whether it's taking 30 minutes a day to read or going to that spin class 4 times a week or like whatever that is, we make sure that we're focusing on the whole reseller, not just the business part. And that's something that we've all done to balance our lives and not feel, I think that's what keeps us from burnout too, is that we're balancing our lives more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, for me, that has been the biggest mindset shift, the biggest, win is really, you got to take care of yourself before you take care of your business. And the fact that we do that and we do that with our community, I don't know if I think it's been as life-changing for everybody involved. You can't separate the two. It just doesn't work.
Well, Libby, you're going to have to, and I mean have to, spend some time talking with me because our next 12-week year, I'm integrating the daily workout routine. So I have to figure out how that's going to fit in and where that's going to get plugged in to my routine. Because the thought of doing it, I'm a morning person. So I've always said, if I don't go first thing in the morning, I don't go. But then I've been loving my mornings being so productive. So what you said earlier, I like hearing that you're equally as productive. It just shifted.
I think it was making it number one. If you're thinking about doing this, make it the priority, and everything else will fall into place around it. But you have to make it like the priority, and everything else just kind of will shift and change. And
I think that's so true. Yeah. So my workout time, I'm walking. I'm making sure I get, an adequate amount of steps each day, which I've actually gone above and beyond that just by focusing on, I need to make sure I take my walk. But I've been using it as a break time. So like after this, shipping will be done. We recorded, we do our things. I'm going to go for a walk, get myself pumped back up, and then come back and list and do business stuff. And it's just making sure it's a block on my day and I get to listen to whatever podcasts I want. It doesn't have to do anything about reselling or anything like that. And it's usually about murders.
I was going to say murders.
Murders. Always about murders.
I either take my dog. I'm finding it more enjoyable to not take my dog. First of all, because she doesn't need much exercise and she quite hates going for a walk. And second of all, because then I can pet everybody else's dogs. Like when you're taking your own dog for a walk, you got to like cross the street and avoid them on their, but when you're going for a walk by yourself, I'm like, what's your Shih Tzu's name? She's adorable. I'm like, yeah, that's great. So that's my time. Yeah. The other
You'll
day
have to do what Jason of Santee Swapper was doing, sadly, before his puppy passed, was taking the walk with the puppy, then coming back to the house, putting the puppy back, and then he and his wife go for the actual exercising.
There we go. Yeah, Diamond hates going for walks. The other day I went by myself and the lilacs are starting to bloom here. And I have purple ones. Our whole block is filled with purple ones. And I'm like, oh, I want to find a pink one. And I found a pink one. And I'm like, oh, there's a white one. And then I was on a mission to find a deep purple before I got home. Like I wanted to find all the colors. So I did the weirdest pattern. If somebody were to look at my activity, they'd be like, what were you doing? But I was on a mission to find and photograph a deep purple one and ended up walking, I don't know, like 2.5 miles or something before I came home. But
nice.
Yeah.
Wow. Good for you. Good for you. Wow. All right, Libby, I'm going to take you back to your morning.
And then I do the shipping.
Yes, we need to go back to your morning.
Shipping and everything. Like I check my calendar, do all the shipping. I have to mention that I do a round of shipping generally in the evenings because we always have a lot going on in the morning. So I don't like to, ship more than 20 in the morning. And I try to keep that. So I do 2 rounds of shipping throughout my day. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Especially since your postman picks it up for you. So you're kind of on a time crunch there.
Mhm.
as far as like you need to have it done by a certain time. My husband will bring it to the post office whenever it's done.
Yeah.
So
I just realized I forgot another integral part of my morning routine that somebody else might find valuable is when you just said, look at the calendar. When I'm doing my morning to-do list, I look at the calendar to see what actual like solid appointments we have, like things I
Mhm.
cannot miss. And I will immediately pull up my phone alarm and set alarms 15 minutes before every one of those meetings. Because then no matter where my brain goes with work, because you know how sometimes you get so in, especially when I'm editing videos, I get so into the editing that the next thing you know, I look up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm late. I missed it. So I do that every morning. I set alarms for all of the must-do things that are on an actual time slot so that it goes
that's
off
why you've
15
been
minutes
on
ahead of
time for everything and waiting on Samantha and I for most things. So I
Correct.
think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start doing that. So I'm really glad you mentioned that because I've found myself getting a little off lately.
Yeah.
You know, normally I would always be the one, but
Yep. Yeah.
not so
It's those
much
morning
these
alarms,
days.
man. I do them 15 minutes beforehand because that gives me time to wrap up whatever I'm doing. If I need to run to the restroom, fill up my water, just walk into a different room for a different view. 15 minutes is plenty of time to get a few things done and be set and ready to roll on whatever that next must do.
Thank you
thing
for that.
is.
That tip is gold. Yes.
Well, good.
Yeah.
So before we move from, go ahead, Samantha.
Well, I was just going to say one thing that we all mentioned in each of our routines that is we've learned, we've taken years to learn that this is really important. And we sometimes have to remind ourselves every week or month that this is really important. Workspace is separate from personal space. So whenever we mention we go downstairs and we have a break in our coffee, or we go upstairs and we do like we have our offices or our e-basements or we have designated spots for working on designated things. So that way, when you're in that space, you're like, okay, now I'm working. I'm not coming in this space to, I don't know, I can't even think because it's just my workspace. I can't even think of what else I would do here. But
binge watch Netflix.
Oh God. Yeah. Right.
Breaking news. Molly is breaking the rules as we speak because she has work stuff downstairs.
Molly, so I was going to mention that last week was a weird week for me, trying to list a bunch and get ready for camping and family time. There was a lot going on. So I did work from my dining room a couple days last week. Was I as productive as if I had been up here? Absolutely not. But it is what I needed for my balance, and it worked well for me last week. However, today I'm like, well, maybe I could no, Samantha needs to get her butt back up into this office and be in work mode. So that's
Samantha, I had that same conversation with my brain this morning. Well, maybe I should just edit videos downstairs. No, you are not editing videos downstairs. I blame this on Johnny Frizzy's Finds because he encouraged that he does his editing on the iPad. Well, I love doing it on the iPad. But the bad part of that is that iPad really can easily go anywhere with you.
Right. Does he do his on the couch? Like before you just like really blame him. Where's the editing?
I absolutely believe he is on the couch. He is on
I 100% believe Johnny's on the couch.
His deck smoking his cigar, doing his right?
Feet crossed. Yeah, 100%.
Okay. All right.
I mean, Johnny, you can put in the comments if we're wrong, but I think Samantha and I are right on this.
Yeah. Also,
but you're right.
You can blame everything on Johnny. That's fine.
Always blame it on Johnny.
Yeah.
We learned that from Lizzie.
Hey, they have it going on, those folks. They know what they're doing and they have it figured out. So
for sure. Yeah. Yes.
So, but Samantha, I think that is great advice. And we have talked about that so many times in previous episodes about your workspace and how important it is to designate that space for your productivity, as our friend from Canada, Carmen, would say, productivity. It is
sanity, and sanity. Let's talk sanity here.
Yeah. But I mean, realistically, every one of us has encroached in our other space from time to time. It has.
Oh, for sure.
It's not something that you beat yourself up, but I found myself this weekend saying, okay, we need a time limit on getting this particular stuff processed and out, because my beautiful living room is no longer my beautiful living room. So I think you have to come to that moment where you can only let it ride for so long before you go, nope, got to get back to that.
Yeah. And,
previous.
we fool ourselves because it'll be a slow slide into
Oh,
chaos.
yeah.
Like a very slow, like one thing here. Oh, just a little bag of stuff. Oh, I'm going to watch a show while I do whatever. It is going to be a very slow slide. If you find yourself sliding down that slope, just decide how far you really want to go.
Okay. So y'all, mine was no so slow slide this time, though. It was a freaking avalanche, because we came back from Hilton Head, from Nashville and Hilton Head, with a ton of stuff, and it got all on my table in my game room. And then Nick and I went sourcing.
Go subscribe to Thrift, Find, Flip, folks. You can see real footage of what it was like when we got back.
Yes. You can. And since then, more has been added. Now, mind you, all those clothes have been processed through. I mean, we've been working on it, but every weekend I'm gathering more items, right? And so I've got to get back to bagging it, taking it up, and just bringing one bag at a time into my office. So
put a puzzle on that table.
I know the puzzle is the way to go.
Yep.
Yep.
There you have
it. And we have some.
My puzzle board is full of inventory right now, so I totally understand. I keep a board on top of the dog's kennel because my dog's giant, so it's a big board, and I keep it on top of her kennel, and it normally has a puzzle or some like personal project that I am working on. Right now, it is a freaking mountain. It is a money mountain of stuff that I was like, I'll just set this here for a little while. Now I'm not only cranky because I'm not doing a puzzle at night. I'm cranky because there's a mountain of stuff in my living room on top of the dog's kennel. Yeah. Puzzles, people. Puzzles will save your routines.
Yes. It's great that we all love doing them too. I love that. All right. One more thing on the morning routine. Things that we use to, just a quick list of things we use to start our mornings that we think everybody should look into. Number one.
All right. This is what I use without fail every morning. My C-Chats Daily Intention Journal. It is available and you click on it. It's in the show notes. It was designed. Molly did the final design, but it was all input from our community and what they needed and wanted.
Collaborative.
And it is flipping amazing. And it just keeps me right on track, right where I need to. I have room to write my notes during the day. It's everything. Like I cannot survive without my intention journal.
Yeah.
So we have that. I use TickTick app to do all of my tasks and long-term planning for each part of my life. Libby's going to start using TickTick app. What other things do we use? We use
Google Calendar.
My Google Calendar. Yeah.
Anything else that way that we can put on the list that your morning, we've all talked about coffee, protein coffee. Y'all know what coffee you like and where to get it. I drink Javi or Javi, Javy protein coffee. It comes to me on subscription and I love it.
I drink Walmart brand Equate vegan protein powder. It's real fancy. It comes in chocolate or vanilla. That's it.
There you go.
My proteins, whatever's on sale, and I like my instant. Sorry, Vanessa. Mushroom coffee. Yep.
It is good though. It is good. I think another thing. I don't want to. Hopefully he's not listening. He's not a tool, but a tool that I use is to make sure that your spouse is on board if you have one. Or in Libby's case, she had to get her parents on board too. Like I am doing X, Y, and Z. Stay the F out of my basement. Like there was, and to make sure that your spouse like knows your daily routine or at least part of it. They know, all right, when you come home at lunch, I'm going to be recording, or when you do X, Y, and Z, I'm going to be doing this. Like, making sure that they're on the same page and you're not just always like, I'm working right now. Like, and my husband can say, wow, you've been at the dining room a lot this week. Are you really working as much as you should be? And then I say, geez, Libby, leave me alone. Gosh. And then I go back to my office.
All right. We also talked about shipping. We have some previous episodes. We might do another one coming up, an updated shipping episode on all those things that we like to use and all those tips and tricks we have to expedite your shipping process. Because yes, even though I do have a shipping manager now, we still have a lot of things we work together to put into play to expedite the shipping process. So we can talk about that.
Oh yeah, I want to show my shipping stuff off because, man, guys, I've figured it out in my new space. It is so much better. Yes.
Oh, so we need to do that. We need to
oh
do
my
that
gosh,
for sure.
we need to do that trending thing right now where they're like, I'm Samantha and I do blah blah blah, and you're like, I'm Libby. But we need to do the opposite. We need to do Libby going through her whole shipping routine, and then we have our husband saying, I'm Bill, and then Libby goes through another part of her shipping routine, and Nick goes, I'm Nick, and then
instead of them saying I'm Nick,
ours, I guess ours. It would be us.
This is what we do, Samantha. We go, when it comes to us, we go, this is Nick.
Yeah.
That's Bill.
Yeah. She has
rub it in.
Yeah. That's yes.
All right.
I couldn't be happier for you guys and your shipping managers.
We need like shippingmanagers.com. That's the new reseller dating site. There we go.
There you go.
That's brilliant.
All right. Daily routine. I'm really trying to keep us on because this is a long episode and we have so much to talk about in our daily lives. Sourcing. I'm going to bring up my favorite topic, sourcing. When do we put sourcing into the mix? And we can talk about this because y'all more than me do consignment. So that's a little bit easier to schedule into the mix because that comes to you, which we're going to talk about briefly. But for me, sourcing, I keep my sourcing on the weekends. What I have done is I have now made Friday. It's now my official Fun Friday. So if there's a Friday yard sale, I will go to that. Or I will go sourcing. I have found a favorite locally owned lunch spot that I'm doing lunch. Fridays are my days by myself that I am going out. I am sourcing. I am having lunch by myself and doing all the things because the weekends, Nick is so excited to be a part of my business that all he wants to do is us to work and list. And so I had to take a break. So Friday is my Fun Friday. I go out and do the things I want to do, and that is when I source. The only other thing that I will source for is Saturday morning. If there's a good estate sale, I will run to that. Or if there's yard sales, I will go to those. But I typically get up and go to those early 7:30, and I'm home by 9 when Nick gets home from his running club and ready to roll. Or if he's not running, we go together. That's when I strategically put my sourcing in is Fridays and Saturday mornings.
Yeah. So I still have sourcing work to do. I'll source at the auction on Sundays a lot or do an estate sale on Saturdays. So that doesn't really play into my daily routine at all. However, the one thing that does play into should play into my daily routine, and I really need to get better at it, is you have to set aside time to deal with your consigners and people who want to bring stuff or have questions or, need something specific. I am going to be adding a time block. So I used to do this, but I haven't been. And right now I have a buildup of things I need to respond to, maybe new consigners that are interested, and put a time block in there because it does take time to do these things and, nurture new relationships or, keep building old ones. So that is a sourcing kind of time that you really do need to build in. Not a lot. It doesn't take long, but you have to probably touch it at least once a week. Yeah.
I in the wintertime I don't source at all, like maybe a thrift store here and there, and that's mostly just if Bill and I are out, I don't know, running errands or something, and he'll just randomly pull into a Goodwill and say, hey babe, let's go in here for a couple minutes. But otherwise right now we've been doing it like Saturday mornings, or this week we did Friday because we were leaving to go camping on Friday, so we did it then, went to a couple garage sales, estate sales. But yeah, otherwise my thing is on my Google Calendar, I have to put in I have it where my consigners can make appointments every week, and I have X amount of appointment slots. And then I have to make sure that I put time on myself to go through their stuff. Otherwise, like right now, there's just 4 bags
backlog
of stuff in my living room from the consignor that dropped off on Friday, and I haven't been here to go through it. So, yeah.
You got some work to do. You got some work to do. So I love that you have your schedule that you use for your consigners through Google, that they can just schedule their drop-off times. I think that is a phenomenal thing to have. The other thing I was to say for my sourcing, I always recommend, in order to keep your time at a good time and you're not out all day. Now, this does not apply for Fridays, because Fridays are my fun day. And if I want to be out all day, by goodness, I'm going to be out all day. It's my day. But Saturdays, I know we're going to work. So I want to like get what I want and get back, because I know we're going to be uber productive that day. So I will go on estatesales.net the night before, go ahead and figure out if there's any I'm going to go to, what I'm going to go to, what specific items I'm looking at. I go ahead and put it in my Waze app to make sure I know where it's located, how long it's going to take me to be there, what time do they open, what time can you get your name on the list or pick your number. And then I determine, is this one I need to be there uber early for because it's got a lot of great stuff and I know it's going to be packed and I want to get in front of the line, or not. So I pre-plan that. I pre-plan yard sales by, is it a community sale versus one-off sale? Which ones start at 7, 7:30, 8, and I kind of map out my day. So that would be my recommendation too, if you're trying to get done, get back, get stuff done, and do it in a fun yet precise manner. Do your research and do your planning the night before so that you can knock it out and get home.
Yes.
Yeah.
Boom.
For sure.
All right. Listing. When do we put our listing and inventory management on the schedule? Where does that
this
fit
is
into your
the
day?
biggest piece of our day. I think it's absolutely the biggest piece of my day, and it should continue to be the biggest piece of the day, because this is where we make the money, guys. This
Correct.
is it. Yeah. So I do time blocks. It's generally around 4 hours a day that I list, 5 days a week, maybe a little less than that now. Maybe I'm about at 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. And I can shuffle those hours around depending on what's going on what day. And I know that's kind of what I need to do to hit my target. But like you guys, a lot of people do a dollar value, a number, like I need to list 20 items today. That's my goal. Other people, say I need to list, $500 worth of inventory. So those are all like really good ways to figure out, but you got to set aside, you got to have the time to do it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So set your goal by number of items or price. My next question is
time.
Your process. Do you batch items? Let's talk about that. There's so many different ways you can do that. Like Nick, who's now started listing, he likes to batch. So he'll spend all day Saturday and just be dressing and undressing mannequins all day long and filling our iCloud photo cloud up with a bajillion photos of clothing. And then he'll take the backgrounds out in photo room. And then the next day he'll just start listing. I typically will bring X amount of items up in a bag, sit them over here on my left, and I will just photograph like 2 to 5 items, put them through photo room, list them, get another 2 to 5 items, list them, move them on. That's how I do it. How do you guys process?
So I like to batch as well. I think it's more efficient, but sometimes I go by consignor. Like I just want to finish one consignor, but
that's what I was
generally
gonna
their
say.
items, like they're such large consignments generally that they are kind of like batched. Like right now I'm working on the women's clothing, and then she also has, like 40 handbags. So I'll do all the clothing and then I'll do the handbags for that consignor. But like if it's like weird collectibles and stuff, like Molly does, I like to do it like that, where it's going to require some research.
Yeah, I'm the same. That's what I was thinking. Like the bags that I have to go downstairs looked like it was all clothing from the same consignor. So as I go through that, I will put all of the shirts and tops and like stuff that has to go on a mannequin and put that in one bag for that consignor. And then stuff that can flat lay or hang on the wall in another bag, and then effing pants.
Oh,
Effing pants can go in another bag, and then that bag gets like set aside and forgotten about for a while because I hate effing pants. But
is it your dream to be so successful one day that you can
I
say, I no longer accept
I never
pants?
trust pants. That is a dream of mine. The hard part is they sell
I
all
know.
the time. Everybody
Right?
needs pants.
Because
Like
people don't like to list them and they're a pain. And if you have a good listing, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So that's there will generally be like 3 categories for that consignor. 4 if there are hard goods or books or something mixed in, I set those aside. And then that way I can do that whole consignor, but it's already like batched and ready of like, this is my mannequin hour. Because then when I'm setting up my time block or my listing, okay, I grab all the stuff that has to go on a mannequin and I set my area up for that. And that's what I do. And then the next batch of time or whatever, now I'm ready for effing pants, like that kind of thing.
Yeah. I want to say something that really helped me out. Jason, the Santee Swapper, had in our Sunday night, one of our Sunday night reseller resets had said, because a lot of us use time blocking, is to be super specific what you're doing during that time block. Like, let's say I have an hour. I'm going to do Jane's pants, Jane's effing pants. And, I found that I'm a lot more productive if I'm not wasting like a minute, 5 minutes in the beginning of that time block trying to figure out what I'm doing. I already know what I'm doing. I grab it and get started. It's been a real big help to do that.
Isn't it amazing? And those 5 minutes that you save add up over time. I mean, they really add up. Yeah.
I got more time to binge Netflix. Yes.
Oh,
right?
yeah, because you're doing that so often. Yeah.
So,
sorry, I've got more time to read. Yeah. All right.
There we go.
There, that sounds.
Jill drink and prep for book club. Jill,
that
have
sounds
a nice
more
big
real.
drink.
All right. So, tools we use for this process, real quick. Photo Room is what I use to take my backgrounds out. I use Vendoo for cross-listing, which, by the way, BTW in my schedule, that gets done at night. That's a brainless kind of easy job that I can do or Nick can do while we're watching TV. So that's a nighttime activity that we do. Other tools we use, Samantha's showing you one right now. Talk about this tool.
So I put my measurements that I would have for my item. I have one for pants. I have one for tops. And if I'm doing a dress, I just will cross off and write what I want on here. But all I did is I printed this on a 4x6 label because that's what I have. That's the type of printer I have. And then I put it in a dollar store frame or from a garage sale or whatever. And I got a huge bag of dry erase markers on Amazon. And I do my photographs and then I measure and I write down my measurements and I take a picture of this and then I do my listing. And I don't put my measurements in my description. I don't worry about making sure they're in the right spot and list perfectly or any of that. I am just taking a picture of it. And I very rarely get questions. And I actually had one the other day asking about the rise of something. And then they immediately said, oh, sorry, I just saw them in the photos. So like it's worked very well for me. Some people will do this and still put them in the description, which is totally fine.
I'm saying you need a tutorial on this on our YouTube channel. People ask about it all the time. It's those little simple things like that. We need that. Samantha, can you do that for us?
All right.
I'm going to ask you during an episode here.
Write it in your notes.
All right. I really need to make some tutorials. So I see what you're doing here. Okay. Good job.
Yep.
No, I that's a question people ask you all the time. Like, how do we not have a tutorial on that?
This episode is bringing up so many tutorials along the way as we're breaking down our day. Like, wow, we have so much to talk about and so many things that we utilize to make our lives easier. Anything else there? I mean, obviously, all these can be broken down into full episodes. We're more trying to break down our day in and day out life with a little tidbit here and there.
I list all my stuff. Like when I'm talking listing, it's going into Consigncloud, which is our consignment software. You can check that out in the show notes, like a free trial. And once it goes from there, it goes to Vendoo, and my son does the cross listing. That's why I'm not talking about like time investing, cross listing and all. He does that remotely. And Vendoo, I just gotta give him a little shout out, has been amazing game changer for my business and the flow, and saved so much time. And everybody in our community that has, switched or, started Vendoo has had a very similar experience. So I just want to give them a shout out. Check it out. The code is in the show notes. They also have a little bit of a free trial if you're looking for ways to increase. Yeah. If you're looking for ways to increase efficiency,
it really has been a game
good
changer.
Option.
Yeah. And the fact that Avery does it for you, Nick does the cross listing for me. I mean, it's an easy software to use and manipulate. But the other beautiful thing that I love about it is there's an app for that. You can do it on your phone.
Right. That is crazy that you can cross list from any device. I love that.
Yep. You can pop it right up on your phone. If you're a passenger princess like Samantha and I tend to be, you can go on a road trip. Your king is driving, and you can cross list and do everything right there on your phone. Just a beautiful thing. So, for sure.
We're standing in line at the store,
Yeah.
No.
You're losing patience, and you really just have to say, let them, Jill, drink. You know what? Let them take their time. I'm going to cross post.
All right. So I think, go ahead.
I think we talk a lot about boundaries of other people around you, but the biggest thing that keeps us in our daily routine is boundaries with ourselves, making sure that you are sticking to whatever type or plan or list or whatever that you use. Be accountable to yourself. Did you do those things before you step out of your office or you step out of your house or you get distracted by something else? Making sure that you have set those boundaries, even if it's my stupid little thermometer that I have here.
No, we love your thermometer.
When I'm getting real squirrely, I have to use this and say, okay, I can't go and do all the fun things that I put in these boxes until I hit my listings on the thermometer. Because I mean, that's the hardest part. There's really nobody here keeping us accountable. We have our accountability groups. We do all that stuff. But the person that you really have to be accountable to is yourself, and making sure that you are putting everything you can into your business and your routine and balancing the life the way that you want it to be successful.
I love what you said about boundaries, because if you don't respect your boundaries and your time, there is no way in hell anyone else is going to. So you got to start with yourself.
Where's my mic? Oh, mic drop. Boom. Boom. Boom.
Yes.
Yes. Yep. We preach this all the time. Find your way to be accountable. Find your community. Find somewhere where you can check in on your business and your goals and that kind of thing. Because if you find your people for that, it is priceless. Priceless. Yep. All right. So after we do all that, you got to get your stuff in inventory. Make sure you find a time to process your listed stuff into your inventory and get it put away properly.
Which is way easier to do in small amounts than it is to let it build up for 2 weeks and then go, crap, where am I going to put all this stuff?
2 weeks. I let mine build up for about 6 months at one point. And do you remember that, Samantha? Do you remember my wall of?
Yeah.
Now, Billy, the
Frugal Flamingo.
Billy, Frugal Flamingo, changed my life. She showed me her all my stuff gets inventoried the second I list it. It's all done. It's amazing.
Well, we don't all have e-basements like you, so
e-basement is a beautiful thing.
I have to. I put mine. I bought these. I bought these hampers off of the Amazon, and they were like $10 for 3 of them. They're like plastic lined or whatever. I throw them around. Everything I'm listing goes in there, and when those are full, they go down into the basement. And then I need to put them away. My husband comes down and helps me, and so we do our whole process of putting things away, which is way easier to do when there's just these 3 bins and not when there's 3 bins plus 10 IKEA bags. That's not the way to do it. So, yeah.
I am sure that we have missed some parts of our day because
So much.
there's 3 of us and we have long days, and this is just the reselling aspect of our day, not the consignment chats aspect of our day,
I'm
just
tired.
our reselling part, because there are obviously other parts of this, like your customer service and all of that. But that is where some of the apps that we talked about, whether you use Google, TickTick, those kind of things where you block in your time every day to take care of those nitty gritty little things that you need to take care of, because you don't want to miss out on checking your messages, customer service. Those things are important.
Yes.
So make sure you do that. All right, let's end by talking about the end of our day, our wind down routine, how that happens. And since I'm talking, I'll just keep talking. I usually every day kind of set that I'm going to be done at whatever time in my mind. And I usually try to make it around 2 or 3 because Nick comes home at 5 to 6, somewhere in there. And then, as you know, he wants to talk business. So I usually try to get myself a few hours break every day between 2 or 3 and 5 or 6 so that I can, that's kind of my unwind time. That's when I call to chat with a friend. That's when I clean up my personal emails. That's when I Netflix and binge, go Bravo, whoop, whoop, watch my dirty little housewives and all that good stuff. That's my time. And so depending on what day it is, because our days are different with how much we have on the calendar, it could be that I get an hour, it could be that I get 3, but that's
Right.
how I try to do my wind down time. And for me, I don't have any particular routine for that, except that I set it in my mind for the day. And that's kind of my carrot. You know, I got to get all of the things on this morning list done before I can move to that part of my day. So that's my carrot. But that carrot could be anything. It could be just as much as going downstairs and getting my sugar-free pudding and watching Netflix and put my feet up.
Oh, love some pudding. Some good pudding.
There's nothing better than pudding. Pudding's
Oh,
good.
love pudding.
Oh my God.
All right, what about y'all for your wind down? Let's talk wind down.
Go, Libby.
I do reseller reflections.
That's
After I reset to 0, and that's the end of my day. Is usually reseller reflections.
yeah.
Then I go upstairs, chill
If
out.
Libby has posted reseller reflections, we're not allowed to talk to her about business for the rest of the day.
Contact me. Do not contact
And
me.
y'all, to me, Libby, it's such a great thing that you have that, because that is such a phenomenal way to wrap up your day.
Yeah, you're like flipping that close sign on the front of your store and locking the door and going home for the night.
What
like
you're
we're
doing,
done.
no matter what your topic is you talk about, I know that when you do that, you're going through your mind and you're doing your, how did I do today? What did I do today? What could I have improved on today kind of thing in your brain. And then you pick your topic of what it is you're going to focus on. But even though you might not focus on all those things I just said, I know that you go through that mental, hey, what went well? Yeah, and that's a phenomenal way to end your day. I don't have that or do that. Like when I'm done, I'm like, sweet, downstairs. Like I don't go through that mental breakdown. Like I know Vanessa, Brightest Holidays, has a journal she writes in at night that kind of breaks down her thought process of her day. I don't do that. So I love you guys put in the comments. Do you have a specific way that you kind of break that down?
No, I would. The more I'm thinking about this, I would really recommend it, because generally, I think almost all of us have all these thoughts swirling around in our head at the end of the day, right? Like me saying reseller, doing reseller reflections and actually getting that out, or Vanessa doing her journal or doing her diabetic reseller podcast.
Jason does the checklist in the journal at night too. And
Nancy Swapper also does that.
Yeah.
And Jill does her to-done list. I think it just it takes those things off your brain and puts them elsewhere, so those thoughts aren't swirling. Because that's something you commonly hear people say, I can't, my mind is racing, I can't fall asleep at night. I sleep like a baby, guys.
I prefer to think about those things around 2-3 in the morning. That's when I like to think about them.
Yeah. So you know what? We should just very, very briefly touch on sleep.
Yep.
because we've
Okay.
all been incorporating and being like very aware of sleep during this like 12-week year process and seeing the impact that that has had and just being aware of it. Some of us are monitoring it. Sleep is really key and really important. Figure it into your schedule. Figure out what you need and get there. You know, maybe not overnight, but like slowly get there, because it's a game changer.
Yep. All right. That's it, y'all. That's us resellers in a day. I mean, look at us. We just kind of broke down our day with not a whole lot.
You just skipped half of my work day.
What? Oh, go ahead.
Right.
I work at night. I'm the one that works at night. You just skipped over. I haven't even listed anything.
We can't deal with the late
I'm
night.
sorry, I
working,
have
Samantha.
no mental capacity for nighttime people.
I've been sleeping for like 5 hours when you're starting work at night.
She's looking at that timer up in the corner going, oh my God, this is the longest episode ever.
Seriously.
So I'll be real quick.
We do a lot.
I spend time, I will work until like 4 p.m, depending on our consignment chat stuff. On Tuesday, we're done at like 2. I'm mentally checked out. I'm done. There's no way I'm listing or doing anything for my business after 2:00 on a Tuesday. And that's when I'll say, okay, honey, what do you want to do? And he does Walmart deliveries and stuff. I'll go ride around with him and do that with him. And like, that's our time together. We find a place to have dinner, whatever. And so that varies each day, whether I end at 2 or 4 or 5. Wednesdays, it's like 6 because we're doing come learn or come list with us. I spend a couple hours with him. And then normally around 8 or 9, when he is getting ready to go to bed, which has been fluctuating with his schedule change, then I get back into work mode, and I generally come into the 24-hour room and I co-work with our people, my Jill and my Dawn mostly, and Jason Wells joins us, and lots of fun people. And I will work until about midnight my time. Yeah. And then
meanwhile, back at the Whisker Lodge.
Right? About midnight, 1:00, I go to bed. I read for a little while to get me sleepy. And then, that's my day.
Oh, to be young. Oh,
wow.
to be young.
Yeah,
How
we're
about that?
really showing our age, Molly.
I know.
I do sleep in until 8 a.m.
It makes me want to give creds to Jill and Don for being up that late, but then I remember they're actually on West Coast time, so
they're in different time zones.
They're
I thought you were gonna give them cred for dealing with me that much in one day. That's what I thought.
That too, but I didn't want to, be nasty here on this episode. I mean, geez.
You forced it out of her, Samantha.
All right. I hope you got some good tidbits out of this of how we are. What I really hope more than anything you get out of this is it's never perfect. Right. It's never set your routines, live by, put it all together. But remember, we're people and things happen. If you get bumps in the road, if something changes your schedule for the day, don't quit. Don't think the world's come to an end if you didn't get your 10 listings done. It's okay. Just the worst part about that is if you don't regroup and reset.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you regroup and reset, awesome. That is a huge success, because in any job, there are disruptions, whether it's the guy in the cubicle next to you who doesn't stop talking or chooses food too loud while you're trying to concentrate. It can be your husband comes home for lunch and all of a sudden has this amazing idea that you didn't plan on, but it sounds fun and you want to go do it. Whatever it is, remember, we're doing the jobs that we love so that we can live the life that we love. And sometimes that means that set schedule might need a little adjustment. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. That's what I want you to know. I hope you all enjoyed this episode. Let us know. We'd love to hear in the comments something about your routine. Tell us how your routine goes. If you learned something new, or if you're like, oh my gosh, my day runs just like Samantha. I'm up till midnight. If that's you, you better join our Patreon and hop on over in the co-working room. Yes. You can work at night with the late night crew. That's your group. We got your people.
I want to know in the comments if anybody knows what the heck cribbage is when I mentioned that, because most
Nick
people
and I
do
play
not
cribbage.
know. I love
I've
play
it.
never
cribbage,
played
yeah.
cribbage.
Oh, Nick and I play. We take it on our cruises too.
I
So
find
we like
it
the
very
old school of the cruise.
intimidating. Like that whole board, very intimidating.
Oh,
Quick math. It's good. It's
yeah.
good.
We take it on trips with us because it's easy to pack. We did take backgammon one time with us on a cruise, and we got yelled at by somebody because they thought it was too loud. We have like this acrylic kind of board.
Oh, right.
Jeez. So cribbage is much quieter. We play cribbage. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed this episode. Remember, we are live tomorrow, Wednesday at noon. Make sure you check out
Every
our
Wednesday at noon on
Every
YouTube.
Wednesday
If you are
at
listening
noon.
on podcast, get your butt over and subscribe to Consignment Chats on YouTube so you don't
Yes,
miss out
and
on all the
then-
other fun things.
And then hop over and subscribe to @thrift, find, flip, and you'll be part of both of our worlds.
Yep.
All right. Till next time, y'all.
Cheers! Thank you for joining Libby, Molly, and Samantha, the ladies of Consignment Chats, as we grow your reselling business. For all things Consignment Chats, visit us at consignmentchats.com. And join our free private communities on Facebook and/or Patreon.